Tonight's invocation will be given by Bishop Everett Gates. Okay, he is in there. One in Christ Ministry. I'm sorry, Bishop Gates. Come on up. Please rise and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Didn't see you back there.
Every head bow. Heavenly Father, we come before you to give you all glory, honor, and praise. And before we even began to discuss the business of our city, we acknowledge you. We ask that you would lead us and guide us. We ask that you would just order our steps. We understand and realize that we can do nothing apart from you.
Yes, yes.
Your word tells us, Lord God, to trust in the Lord with all thine heart and to lean not to our own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge you, and you would direct our path.
Yes.
So, Father, even as we gather here this evening to discuss the business of Clermont, we thank you for your presence.
Yes.
I thank you, Lord God, for every leader that's present, our mayor, our city manager, and all the councilmen and councilwomen and all those who are present. I cover us with the blood of Jesus, and I declare and decree that no weapons formed shall prosper. Father, as we prepare to even make our pledge of allegiance, help us to be reminded of what we are making our allegiance to. Your word says we are one nation under you, under God. Your word says, Lord God, that we are to be as brothers and sisters. So we acknowledge you. We thank you for being our Father, our Creator, our Sustainer. So, Father, speak to us, speak through us, and we will be careful to give your name all the glory, all the honor, and all of the praise. For it is in Jesus' mighty name we all say amen, amen, and amen again. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. All right, tonight we have a proclamation recognizing Water Conservation Month. Water Conservation Coordinator Jordan Sharp may come forward to accept the proclamation. Yes, sir.
Proclamation. Whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature, and whereas the state of Florida, water management districts, and the city of Clermont are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation, and whereas the city of Clermont and the state of Florida has designated April, typically a dry month, when water demands are most acute, Florida's Water Conservation Month, to educate citizens about how they can help save Florida's precious water resources. And whereas the city of Clermont has always encouraged and supported water conservation through various educational programs and special events. And whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can make a difference when it comes to conserving water. And whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can help by saving water and thus promote a healthy economy and community.
Now, therefore, I, Tim Murray, Mayor of the City of Clermont in the state of Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Water Conservation Month. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the great seal of the City of Clermont to be affixed this 22nd day of April in the year 2025. I thank you, sir. I think you have some presentations first. You want to go ahead and do that, and at the end we'll try to get a group picture with everyone, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, and dedicated members of city staff. Thank you for joining us as we recognize the winners of this year's Drop Savers contest. Water conservation is vital to the residents of Clermont for several reasons, such as preserving the underground aquifers that provide drinking water, preserving natural ecosystems, and mitigating the impacts of climate change. Each year, students are invited to illustrate what water conservation means to them. The ultimate goal of this program is to educate our youth on the value of conserving and protecting one of our most precious natural resources, water. Now I'm honored to introduce the winners of the 2025 Drop Savers contest. When I call your name, please come forward and receive your award. So we will start with Division I, kindergarten and first grade. Third place, we have Giancarlo Diaza. Second place, we have Lily Stoddart.
Hey.
All right, in first place, we have Luna Rincon. All right, Division II, second and third grade. Third place, we have Jose Da Rocha. Second place, we have Wesley Pinkston. And first place, we have Braden Harrison. All right, for Division III, fourth and fifth grade, we have Lyat Weitzman. Second place, we have Haley Dempsey. And first place, we have Juliet Freeman. All right, Division IV, which is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Third place, we have Gabriella Knight. Second place, we have Josephine Tang. And for our first place and overall winner, we'd like to give a special recognition to Ariana Solis. Not only did she win first place in her division, but she also won first place overall for the city of Clermont. Her winning poster will be displayed at the Arc. But in addition to this, Ariana won first place in her division for the entire state of Florida. As a result, she will be receiving additional recognition and awards from the American Waterworks Association. Congratulations to all our talented participants, and thank you for your dedication to water conservation. We would also like to thank all the schools for their support in allowing the students to participate. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Mayor and our city council members, along with our winners, to please join me in the front for a photo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, he was blocking his picture. Couldn't see it. So,
Hey, you guys gonna go back to your seats, please?
Let's give all our young people another round of applause. You know, every year I look forward to this council meeting that we get a chance to recognize the young people for their work and efforts in water saving. And as I said, a lot of these pictures will be on display. If you go through the halls on the second floor of this building, you'll see most of the pictures over the years been displayed on the walls in the building. And our first place winner this year, I think I heard you say they're going to be in the CPAC this year, on display down in the CPAC. So get a chance to go take a look at it. And congratulations to her again for winning state. Yeah, what amazing.
That's
Look good for the city.
fantastic.
So
Choice
thank
of
you.
champions, right there.
Yes, choice of champions.
They are champions indeed.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them a few minutes to go ahead and clear out.
Oh,
All righty. The next item is public comment. Anyone who wishes to address the council, please come to the microphone and state your name and address. This portion of the meeting is for items that are not on the agenda. In the interest of time, efficiency, and ensuring everyone who wishes to address the council is given an opportunity to do so, each speaker will be permitted 3 minutes to address the council. To avoid disruption of the meeting, speakers should avoid inappropriate language, personal attacks, and derogatory statement, and direct comments to the city council. Everyone is requested to be respectful of each other, even when we disagree. Yes, sir.
John Tadona, 3611 Briar Run Drive. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City Manager, City Attorney.
Hold on.
Am I good?
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Good
Thank
evening, everyone.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention, if possible, as of 2011, the Community Planning Act took away a lot of authority that, in our case, DOT has in terms of approving and disapproving traffic patterns. Since 2011, for DOT in particular, they're only concerned with water going on a state road, shrubs impeding a state road, and handicap access from a state road. I also have for you some information. I made 10 packets of it. Since 2013, a bunch of cities and counties across Florida have used what's known as traffic concurrency and mobility fees in order to kind of curb the development in their communities. The city of Oviedo and the county of Highlands are taking it to incredible levels, and they're willing to help us out. What basically happens is a developer is now held accountable for a third-party traffic survey, that cost, for making infrastructure upgrades based on what the county or the city asks them to do, and then paying a one-time fee that is held in case those improvements or infrastructure start to fail, like potholes and things like that. So it doesn't come out of the city or the county's budget, it comes out of a fee that the developer has already paid out. So again, I do have packets. I don't know if you want me to hand them out now, or I could just keep
Yes,
going.
please.
Okay.
Whenever you finish your presentation.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so one of the things that I'm starting to find and hear from developers is the term like walkability, where something gets built and it's all for the community and we could walk to it and everything is just wonderful. There is a project, sorry, that's going up on Hamage Ridge Road, for sake of argument. And I understand that we do not have the authority to tell people what to put on their property. But in this particular instance, I don't know if you could see it, on Hamage Ridge Road, the only viable foot traffic that's going to happen in this development is the foot traffic or the walkability from one store to another. Where this is, and I beg your pardon, I just need to kind of get an idea of what I'm doing. There is an apartment complex across the street. There is Legends up the block. There's Fox Chase up the block where I am. And there's also Kings Ridge across the street. So my concern as someone who's walked in Brooklyn and Staten Island where things are in the neighborhood and you could get to that bodega or city corner store, the only way there would be any kind of walkability would be if we're going to start putting in pedestrian walkways, maybe an extra light going across Hamage Ridge Road or from, let's say, Kings Ridge. And then when you get to the establishment, and I realize it's early in its development, there are no sidewalks that are shown in any of this. So if my wife and I decide to leave Fox Chase, walk down to, I don't know, the hotel, we're walking in a sidewalk until we turn into that. There's also no sidewalk from the rec center, so any through walkability, pedestrian traffic is walking into a street, and we still insist that one lane in and one lane out is actually a viable way to maintain traffic, which is a shame. So again, I realize we don't have the ability to tell people what to put on their property, but certainly there has to be some sort of mechanism where things make sense. That area is not walking to. You are driving to get to that area from wherever you are. And there's just going to be a lot of traffic coming up and down Hamage Ridge Road. And God help the person that's walking to try to get to that new store that's planned for it or go get a cup of coffee, because there's no place to go. I mean, I remember in Brooklyn, crossing 18th Avenue, you had to look back and forth 9 different times before you cross the street. So I do want to give you this packet. I think it's very important. I think it's something that we could use. Cities and towns across Florida are already using it, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. The city mayor of Oviedo is willing to help us. Highlands County is definitely willing to share all of their forms and documentation with us. And again, it's not like we're going to war with developers, but we're just kind of holding them a little bit more accountable, and it's time that they make an investment in Clermont. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you can. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Otis Taylor, 3686 Cali, DC. I hope everybody had a good Easter.
Yes.
Should have, it was a fun day for us. We really enjoyed it this year. I just have 2 questions. We have 2 key positions in the city, 2 major key positions, and both are filled with interns. Can you give the public an update on city manager and our chief of police?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Brian Bain, 245 Nautica Mile Drive. I promised in my email to all of you that I would be back to ask about the city manager update. I don't see it on the agenda. I had hoped to see it on the agenda so that we could have regular updates, so that the citizens would know it was on the agenda, that it's on your radar. At the last meeting, as I shared with you, I was kind of embarrassed by the fact that the majority of you had not reviewed the candidates for the search firm. When this was discussed back in January, when this decision, or January, when this decision was made. If you haven't been paying attention to what's happened over in Sarasota, I encourage you to check it out. It was pretty embarrassing what that city commission looked like when they started discussing their city manager search process. And it was clear that there was no actual timeline, no structure, no process, no citizen involvement, and I certainly would hate to see that happen here in Clermont. So I'm hoping that you all will, in your reports, answer if you have reviewed since the last meeting the candidates for the search firm and scored those so that procurement can proceed with that process. If you're going to have this on the agenda for a decision to hire a search firm, and what the timeline and the process is going to look like for involving citizens and engaging citizens in this process, because the last thing we need is a backroom deal done on a city manager for our community. The other thing I wanted to bring forward, and I was a little disappointed that no action or response was given, is the Wellness Way MSTU meeting that's occurring in about an hour or so, overlapping this meeting. I sent an email to all of you, including the interim city manager. I sent it to our 2 county commissioners who represent Clermont and the county manager. And didn't hear back from anyone with regard to why that meeting was scheduled overlapping our city council meeting, so that our citizens in the Wellness Way area had to choose between going to that meeting or this meeting. And I don't think that that's right at all. And it's frustrating that as an engaged citizen, I had to choose between those 2 meetings. Go to Tavares, I can't even make it there if we were done in an hour. For that. So the reality is that shouldn't have happened, and the fact that it did and not one elected official or city or county executive responded publicly to that and addressed that is frustrating. And I think that that's something that you all need to think about when future meetings are being held, particularly now that we are changing our times of our council meetings depending upon the week that we meet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Paula Hoisington. I reside at 564 East DeSoto Street. I also want to bring to your attention the disappointment of not seeing anything on the agenda under new business on the status of the process for the city manager. There was much discussion at our last council meeting. It was very disappointing to listen to the discussion when no one up here had an idea of how you as a council will even score the potential headhunters that would choose the city manager. No one had an idea. No one thought that maybe we can get with HR and procurement, they can come up with a matrix and give it to the council members so that they know what they're looking at and how to score. None of you had that idea, and you went round and round about, I don't know how to score. That's very disappointing. Disappointing that we did not, as it was said before, there's no update under new business on where we are with this process. I think we're in our second 90-day term for our interim city manager. It's not fair for him to not know what's going on with his future. It is not fair for the citizens of Clermont to know what you're doing, how you're doing it, what is your plan, what is the timeline. We should at least have a timeline, some idea, even if it changes, some idea of what's going on with this position. Number 2, I brought up last time about the opportunity, or if the city of Clermont Police Department would engage in a contract with ICE. I know it was discussed at the end of the meeting. I left and I tried to watch the video. I'm still not clear on if the police chief, interim police chief has the authority to sign the agreement. If he or she does, will the citizens know about the agreement? And will we have the opportunity to have some type of discussion? Some of you may not be worried about whether we engage in that, but there are some citizens here in the city, surrounding areas, that may have some concern, and we all should know what type, even if we can't stop it, if it's something that the police chief has the right to do, I think as a taxpayer, you should have an idea of what your police department is engaging in. And if we could get an update on that, that would be extremely helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Oh, okay.
Good afternoon, Brian Foreman, Parks and Recreation Director. Just wanted to briefly talk about The opportunity to apply for federal funding for the Meet Us in the Middle project. It's a $1 to $3 million opportunity with a 20% city match. It's focused on the stormwater benefits of the project. And what we're looking for as a staff is consensus from City Council to move forward, and also a letter of support from City Council.
You say, what is it, $3 million?
Up to between $1 and $3 million.
And then it's a match of what?
20%.
Okay.
So 200 to 600,000.
Okay. That's a no-brainer for me. Move forward with me. I don't know what.
Ditto.
So,
Yeah, I would say move forward to that.
Okay. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing no one else, we're going to close public comment. I do notice on the agenda, and last week on the agenda, that we moved reports back to the end. As I expressed to our city manager a couple of times, I guess, lately, and just last week, a couple of days ago, I don't like reports being back to the end of the agenda, because a lot of the questions that's brought up during public comment, I try to answer them during report time. And as a couple of people just said last week, last time when we did a report at the end, they was gone. It's almost like we moving reports back to the end so we cannot communicate with our people. And that's who voted for us, and we represent them. So to me, I don't understand why everybody want to move reports to the end and miss out on an opportunity where you can communicate with the residents and everything. So, but for tonight, I'm gonna just say this, Mr. Brenwang, with some of these questions, the traffic study, I think we need to answer on that one. And I would like to do that before the gentleman leave if possible, because I think right now we do traffic study, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think developers are already required to pay for certain traffic studies already. And the other one on the city manager and chief of police, MSTU, if we can give an update on that. I know I've been talking to you on the last couple of weeks about the MSTU. And I would say this to the gentleman that asked about the MSTU. We did not schedule that. We had nothing to do with the scheduling of the meeting there. That was left up between the county representatives and the residents down in Wellness Way. And as I've been saying to my city manager for the last week or so, we need an update. Since the last council, we need an update where they are, because they need to come back and let us know what they want, because this council has to take action on that, what we're going to do with that MSTU by June. And I think in the last when we had the last workshop, before we turned it over to the residents and the county to work together to try to come up with a solution, I asked them to get back with me before May, with a solution before May. And I'm assuming that's why they're having this meeting now, so they can let us know what they want, so we can take our action we need. So please, it's not us to schedule the meeting. Of course, I probably wouldn't have been there anyway for conflict or purposes, but I do know they need to go ahead and get it all done, and it's up to them what they decide, and then they come to us and let us know what they're wanting. Okay. So if you're looking for who did the meeting, you need to talk to the residents in the county. I wish it was a different time, but that's one of the problems we have with so many meetings. Mr. Waugh, the ICE contract. Questions?
So, Mayor, the answer to all three of those questions is yes. And just for the sake of my understanding of what the question is, does the police chief have the authority to enter into such an agreement? The answer is yes. Is a copy available? Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's a public record, no matter where it is. And can we have a discussion about it? Absolutely, yes. That can be put on an agenda. It can be discussed. And so those are all very easy to answer.
Mr. Mayor, sorry, I feel loud tonight. I don't know. I am one who likes to have the reports at the end, mostly because I don't see reports, and I appreciate your comments, as necessarily responsive to the audience. I do like the time to respond to the questions that are raised, and I personally have no issue making that part of our general practice if the other council members agree with that. I think answering the questions, as someone who has stood up here before and felt like I wasn't heard, I relate, and I want to be able to give those answers to the questions. So if that works for the council, I'm all for that. I appreciate Mr. Gidona's time on bringing us the walkability study. I'm a big fan of walkability, so I'm excited about that. I will say, happen to be the potentially good student here. This is the packet of the city manager headhunting firms that I am still going through. I apologize if I'm delayed. I had asked Freddie to get it to him by next Tuesday. He said that was yes, and it's my understanding that goal is to put it on the next agenda meeting in May, the first meeting in May. That is my understanding of the timeline for that piece of it. I am unfamiliar with the community process, other than it is my understanding that as we go through this, there will be an opportunity when it is narrowed down for community participation in a public meeting. I can tell you I'm on Facebook. I have a city page, and certainly as we get into the public comment piece, I will be putting that out there for anybody who wants to reach out to me directly. More than happy to engage in that forum or by cell phone. I would give you my cell phone, but I would have to look it up. I'm still learning that number. But I will get it if somebody wants it before the night is over. Perfectly happy to give it to you. And Mr. Wall, I would like to know if our police chief is considering engaging in a contract with ICE. It is my understanding, I share Ms. Hoisington's concerns, that that could just be done and we don't necessarily get that feedback. Or actually, sorry, Mr. Van Wagner, if he does go down that route, I would like to be kept in the loop myself. And it sounds like at least some members of the public would as well.
It's my understanding that Chief Broadway did enter into one already.
Okay. Can we get a copy of that?
Yeah.
And is that well, I see our interim standing.
let him-
Mr.
let-
Mayor, do you?
Please,
Let him
please, sir.
speak. Yeah,
Okay.
let him speak.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Interim Chief John Graysick. We did enter into the 287G program, which all that means for right now, what we're practicing is we are abiding by all the statutory regulations that we have in place. We will not, at this point, be taking part in any task force or anything like that. All we had to do was identify a certain number of personnel that would attend that training, and that number is 6 personnel that will attend the ICE training, so that should ICE need assistance from a local municipality, we would have members on our staff that are capable and trained up to the level of ICE on the federal statutes and regulations. That is the agreement in a nutshell, and I'm welcome to answer any other questions.
In other words, Mayor and Council, sometimes some of these 287G agreements actually require expenditures on the part of the city,
Right.
and the city has not entered in anything like that.
Because I was under the impression, I know Chief Broadway somewhat talked to me a little bit before he did it, and I was under the impression, left me with the impression that he basically had no other choice but to sign it. Because I do know in it, I read a little bit of something other, if it's not being enforced, you risk losing your job if you're not doing certain things in it. So it's kind of like forces local law enforcement agencies to enter this agreement. So what we actually, I think the big fight need to be with the state itself for doing this, because it's forcing, my understanding is forcing a lot of our local law enforcement agents to enter these agreements. If they don't carry out what's in the agreement, they can actually lose their jobs.
So what does that entail exactly, Chief Graysick? I mean, I think when we consider the rhetoric of social media and the news, and we see, I would imagine that there's a fear that people who should not be removed are being removed, a fear that of overreach of government. These are the things that I imagine people are concerned about. Right. And then I would imagine that there's a concern that the federal government is now coming into Clermont and telling our police chief how to do his job. And so please, if you would, speak to those concerns and
Yes.
either alleviate or
No problem.
validate them.
In no way are they saying that, dictating how we have to do our job. They're solely asking for assistance from the local municipalities. They're not saying that we have to go out and seek anyone or take into custody anyone based on their status of citizenship. So that's that. ICE has many different forms of warrants in that. We would solely assist with criminal warrants, and those are vetted through the courts at the federal level. And then they have things that are called administrative warrants, and those are vetted out through ICE that local municipalities would not take any action upon, but it's more just to notify us of whatever information they want us to be notified of through that administrative warrant. Other than that, it is a phone call of, we will be in your area conducting operations. Do you have personnel who are trained? We are in the process of training personnel to be able to assist, and then we would have personnel able to assist them should they request our assistance. It's very similar to a mutual aid with Lake County Sheriff's Office or any other agency we currently engage in operations with.
And it
So you
sounds-
haven't gotten that call yet, right? Excuse
No,
me,
ma'am.
I'm sorry.
No, this is all very preliminary. What we received today was the notification that training is available, and the training is at no cost.
Okay.
I believe it's a 40-hour training, like I said, for the 6 members that we'll identify, and then they'll conduct the training, and then we'll report back saying we have members who are trained on the agency.
So you already picked this personnel, or they have to?
No, we have not.
Okay, okay.
And are they being trained during overtime or during their normal hours?
There would be normal hours.
What kind of training are they getting that's different than what they get normally?
ICE deals in the federal regulations and statutes, so that's what they would be receiving training on. Instead of just state and local, they would be receiving things more specific to immigration law and things like that.
And it sounds like there's different versions of this contract that could be entered into, different levels of support.
There are several.
Correct.
Can we be kept in the loop publicly if the service level changes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that agreeable? Is that good?
Yeah,
with
oh,
everyone?
yes, definitely. Thank you.
I appreciate the update.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you. City manager, let me say this. Last I checked, and I know I talked with the city manager on Monday or yesterday or one day last week. I know at the last meeting it was said that we all had to go out and we had to do our evaluation of the nine companies that submitted proposals. Since that time, I think 3 of us have completed it. Okay, so we're still waiting on the 2, and I talked to Mr. Freddie with procuring yesterday. We cannot move any further forward until they all is completed. Okay, so we're just waiting on 2 council members to finish their evaluation. At that point, we can go ahead and move it forward. And as it was stated earlier, and I was told yesterday, they're looking to put it on May 13th agenda of going ahead. And hopefully, everything will be completed by May 13th. They'll put it on the agenda at that time. So we can make a selection. For the deputy, for the chief of police, I've conveyed to Mr. Van Wagner, I have no problem with just going ahead and making interim manager Grayson our chief. I have all the confidence in the world in him. I know he's been here for over 20 years. All his training has been basically under Chief Broadway. I know he worked under Chief Broadway the whole time he was here. And Chief Broadway had no problem moving him up to deputy chief. And of course, I did question that when he made that move a couple of years ago, how he made the selection to make him deputy compared to other ones that have been here even longer and everything, and actually has some more rank on him. But after talking with the chief, he explained everything, and knowing Grayson, I had no problem with it, but I just felt like how would everybody else in the other officers in the department would feel he being selected over them, and he had less seniority and everything in there. But when I even talked to a lot of them, and the one main one I talked to, and he had all the support in the world for him, was Captain McMasters, who I have the world of respect for him as well. He had no problem with it, so when he said I have no problem with it. And I have no problem with him right now. If the city manager want to take it up and go ahead and make him permanent chief, I have no problem with it. He's been doing a great job for us, I know. And I think Chief Broadway will contest to that. So that's where I stand with that.
Okay.
Has the position been advertised?
No.
Not yet.
It's not one we don't need to advertise. I know when I talked to Mr. Van Wagner about it, he had some apprehension about being the interim city manager and making that decision. But I'm going to say this, as I sit here, I see we got a deputy city manager. Now, there was no apprehension about hiring a deputy city manager, which I thought at the time as well. If I felt like maybe that should have been left to the new incoming city manager. So I have no problem with him moving on, going ahead and do it with that, as with this deputy chief and making him chief. Okay.
And obviously the question of who to hire is the city manager's purview. I mean, that's ultimately the city manager's,
Right.
responsibility. As a citizen, I look at the practices of this council, and we chose not to list the city manager on our website, instead to go through the process of hiring the firm, which has put us now almost 6 months into a city manager being here, which I commend. It's not what I would have chosen to do, but I understand the rationale. And I think the point was to see if we could find the most qualified individuals. And I'm a big fan of accountability. I think that people, when held accountable, are either vindicated or their behavior modified. And so, we had the deputy position was advertised when it became vacant. The city manager's position is going through a very formal process. I think Chief Graysick's doing a fantastic job. I've enjoyed working with him. If I had a say in it, which I don't, I would encourage the city manager to advertise it and see what comes in. I mean, we are the choice of champions. This is a very desirable place to live, and I don't think it hurts the citizens for the city manager to see what options, what other folks might come, and it might be someone even that Chief Graysick says, oh, I'd love to work for that person. I mean, we don't know if we don't put it out there, and we have done that for all the other positions that have come available. So Mr. Mayor, that's not a hill I would die on. I'm not going to fight you on it. I think Chief Graysick, if that's what Mr. Van Wagner wishes to do, I'm not going to hold that against him. I just think it's inconsistent with what we've been doing for the other positions that have opened.
If I might interject, I hear what you're saying about having it open, but this is my concern. You have a police officer who has served in the community for umpteenth years, and if you don't promote from within, that sends the message to the others that they don't support us. And I'm thinking, if I was an officer, thinking long term, do I want to put my time in here if you don't promote from within? Now, if the person's not competent, then of course, don't give it to them. But Graysick is more than competent, and I think that if we don't give the position to him, my concern is that we will lose a lot of good officers, because morale is important. And when you are a police officer, you put your life on the line literally, and you want to be in a place where you're supported, because some of them are ambitious, and I imagine most of them want to make rank. So with him being here for all that time, I think that would be a disservice not to have him in that position.
Yes.
Oh, and then the other thing too I want to say, but you already know what I'm going to say. I did the evaluation. I was the only one that completed all of those hours, so I don't know the other two who haven't completed it, but it is some work, and they are taking time to make sure that they pick the right firm in this, but it is time consuming, but I want the public to know I did mine. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was brought out at the last council meeting. You was the only one that had completed it. But I'll just say right now, 3 of us have completed. And of course, at the last council, I even made a suggestion, because I can't make a motion, that if you didn't want to do it, we make a motion to give it back to the hand of procurement and let them do it. And we chose to do it ourselves. So I just encourage everybody to do it. And Ms. Myers, I appreciate your comments, and I'm say dittos to your comment, because I totally agreement with everything you just said, because as I said to Mr. Van Wagner over and over and over a few times, we had conversation, I believe in promote within. If we don't promote our people from within the side of the department, as Ms. Myers say, you give them no incentive to do a good job. So I think by not promoting from within and giving them the opportunity from within, they have no incentive to go out there and do a fantastic job. What do they have to look forward to? So as I say, I know Graysick started here in 2005. I personally started working with him in 2007 in the streets when he was in the drug unit out there. We worked together for a number of years, and he done a fantastic job. And it was many times I had to call on him Even when Chief Broadway wasn't available, that's who I always call upon. And he's always done a fantastic job, so I have no problem with it for moving it on up. And give other people here incentive that, hey, we need to do a great job because maybe we have an opportunity to move up, okay?
I mean, I'm in total agreement with that. I only have known him for a short period of time, but like you all are saying, I think he's totally qualified for the position. I think he would be a great asset to the city of Clermont because he has been for these past years. And if Chief Broadway made him second in command, I would think he did his due diligence to find the best candidate for that job. So I would say to get that done, even though it's not my position. Like
Okay. So I guess the question I have, Mr. Van Wagner, you're sitting there asking yourself is it okay if you make that decision? And I would say to me, as I told you the other day, I have no problem with it, okay? And
Whatever you decide, I support.
So, that's it. Anything, do we need to do anything else on the traffic study? I know there's developers required to do some traffic studies. I know, and I add this to it, there have been some projects that come in here, and we've as previous council, not so much this council, because I don't think we've seen too many projects come through here since November or so, but we saw fit to make developers do more sidewalks and things like this in the community if we saw fit. One particularly is the lumberyard project down there. That's one of the things I mainly insisted upon myself, and because other council members insisted upon, because without any sidewalks down in there in that area along Montrose, Mineola, and 12th Street and everything. So that one of the things their give back in that project is to make sure sidewalks is all throughout that area and things like this. But that's one of the things we was trying to focus on when developers come in here to what can they give back to the community, can they help us out with in the community, if it's sidewalks, trees, whatever. We start trying to focus on that and ask them to do it. And most of them have been pretty generous in doing it. So
I don't think there's anything for us to do with the traffic study question,
No.
is there? Yeah.
no. Well, I think he asked about doing a traffic study. The question was about doing traffic study, and my thing is, I think that's one of the things that's already been done. And I'll say this, I don't always agree with the traffic study, but it's a requirement pretty much. Because it seems like no matter what the project is, traffic study always bear out the fact that it's no impact on traffic. Okay. I think that's all the questions that I really felt like we needed to go ahead and answer, make sure they got answers so that people don't leave. I see the gentleman that asked about the traffic, he's gone already, so. So with that being said, I'll move on to the next portion of the meeting, which is the consent agenda, which contained items that have been determined to be routine and non-controversial. If anyone in the audience wish to address a particular item on the consent agenda, now is the opportunity for you to do so. Additionally, if staff or members of the city council wish to speak on a consent item, they have the same opportunity. The consent items tonight are items 1 through 5, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Are there anyone want any items 1 through 5 pulled from the consent agenda? Any item need to be pulled? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
I move to approve items 1 through 5, consent agenda.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Hearing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And chair vote aye as well. Motion passes 4-0. And by the way, I'm sorry, let me say this before we go any further. As you notice, we're missing a council member tonight, so if anything on the agenda, I'm assuming staff got with everybody, let them know that we've been missing a council member tonight, and if that gives them opportunity to have the item pulled and wait on a full council. So with that being said, Mr. Van Wagner, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Item number 6, a variance request, that's been withdrawn from the agenda, and no further actions required by the council at this time. Also, items 7 and 8 they were denied at introduction last time we were together, and there was no further action required for 7 or 8.
Okay. That's it. Well, and that leaves us in the new business. Item number 9, resolution number 2025-010R, Sprouts Farmers Market, CUP.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Clermont, Lake County, Florida, granting a request for a conditional use permit 2025-010R to allow for outdoor display of merchandise for the Sprouts Farmers Market, Phase 3 Commercial, Lot 14, along with special conditions. Parent 1, additional wall signage up to 550 square feet on the primary frontage wall and 155 square feet on the secondary signage. And Parent 2, an off-site monument sign with the dimensions of 20 feet high and 18 feet wide and a copy area of 203 square feet per side, providing for conflict, severability, administrative correction of scrivener's error, publication, and effective date.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and guests. John Cruz, Development Services. The applicant, Franklin Land Associates LLC, is requesting amendments to a conditional use permit for existing planned unit development known as the Shops at Hammock Ridge Crossing. The development is located south and southwest of the Hammock Ridge Road and US 27 intersection. And on the display, this is the outline of the development. It even goes to the north here, and the parcel we're going to talk about is right here. The existing businesses within this PUD are Chick-fil-A, Seven Brew Coffee, along with the construction current sites of Staybridge Suites Hotel and a daycare. The development was originally approved in 2005 under Resolution 1442 and is currently governed by Resolution 1532. The applicant is requesting 3 changes to Resolution 1532. The first one is an amendment to an existing condition. Sprouts Farmers Market is being proposed on Lot 14 within the development. As part of their business plan, the store displays merchandise outside of their building. Section 8, Item 1 within the resolution under outdoor display states outdoor display of merchandise is prohibited. The applicant would like to add language to this item to state an exemption is allowed on Lot 14 within the development. This would allow Sprouts to display merchandise outdoors. Staff is not opposed to this request and would support this change with the stipulation that outdoor display of merchandise shall be limited along the front of the Sprouts building. And on your display is a conceptual and something that Planning and Zoning did recommend in adding a portion to this condition that it would be under the canopy areas. And again, this is your conceptual showing the outdoor display area recessed up under the canopy areas. The second amendment is for special consideration of front wall signage on the Sprouts building. The applicant is requesting additional secondary wall signage along with an increase of overall square footage of wall signage on the front of the building. A total of 6 wall signs are being proposed on the Sprouts building, with 5 of them on the front and 1 on the rear. The rear wall sign facing Hammock Ridge Road appears to meet the sign code and does not need special consideration. The 5 wall signs on the front consist of a primary sign, which is located here over the entrance, and then 4 secondary signs, which are located here, 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 and here. The total square footage requested for the front is approximately 546 square feet, in which the primary sign will be 268 square feet. The allowable square footage is 200 square feet per city code. In comparison to previously approved wall signage, Target was approved for up to 525 square feet of wall signage with a maximum of 5 wall signs. Recently this year, the new Dick's Sporting Goods building was approved for wall signage up to 440 square feet as well. The applicant has indicated due to the placement of the lot in the interior of the development and the elevation change of approximately 28 feet elevated above US 27, the visibility from the major arterial roadway is challenging, along with having buildings between Sprouts and US 27 that impede visibility. Staff understands the challenges of the elevation change and interior lot location for visibility and would support the request. The final request amendment is for the installation of a multi-tenant monument sign with Sprouts listed as the anchor tenant. And again, this is lot 14, this is lot 9, here's US 27, here's the internal access drive that cuts from 27 to Hammock Ridge, and this is the location of the monument sign we'll be talking about. The applicant is requesting the ability to construct the monument sign on lot 9, which is owned and controlled by the developer. The development has been platted with no consideration of common parcel for a multi-tenant sign along US 27. Therefore, the sign would be considered as an off-site sign. The applicant is requesting the sign to be 20 feet in height and 18 feet in width with a maximum copy area of 203 feet per face. The Land Development Code limits this type of monument sign to 15 feet in height and 10 feet in width with a maximum copy area of 120 square feet per face. And then this one is for the internal, again, here's the internal drive, here's Hammock Ridge. Location of this is actually on the Sprouts Lot 14. In reviewing the application, staff noticed the proposed monument sign within the Sprouts parcel exceeds the city's land development requirements in height and copy area. The plan indicates an overall height of 8 feet, in which the city's code is limited to 6 feet, with a limitation of 32 square feet of copy area per face. The copy area per face is estimated to be 48 square feet. Due to the unique nature of the elevation changes in this development and the lot configuration, these requests may be considered within reason. Staff is not opposed to approving this amendment. Staff has reviewed the requested amendments for the shops at Hammock Ridge Crossing development in conformance of section 101-212 of the Land Development Code. The outdoor display of merchandise, if done appropriately in an organized and maintained manner, does not appear to cause undue noise, odor, traffic, or other nuisances and dangers to abutting property owners. The request of the larger multi-tenant monument sign on Lot 9 would be beneficial not only to Sprouts, but the other minor tenants as well to direct traffic flow in and out of the development. This may assist drivers to safely locate and navigate to the site. The increased wall signage request is similar in nature to other buildings on internal lots that sit back from arterial roadways, such as Dick's Sporting Goods and Target. The primary front wall sign of 268 square feet would be viewed from US 27, while the secondary wall signage will be seen from the private internal drive. Staff has no evidence that approving these amendments would be detrimental to the health, safety, or general welfare of persons residing or working in the vicinity. Therefore, staff recommends approval resolution 2025-010R. And again, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval 5-2 with the condition that the language only under the canopy area be incorporated into section 8 of the outdoor display. That concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, sir. Is the applicant present?
Hi there, my name is Scott Cole. I'm with GBT Realty, located at 9010 Overlook Boulevard, Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. That's it? What a presentation. I like that.
John did an excellent job.
Well, thank you. Tell me my staff must have done a fantastic job in, but this is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wish to address this item may come to the microphone and state your name and address and have 3 minutes. This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wish to address this item may come to the microphone and state your name and address and have 3 minutes. Seeing no one, I close public comment. Bring it back to council.
I have a few questions.
Okay.
With the sign, will it interfere with the residents that live in that apartment complex? And will the sign be illuminated?
In terms of these signs that we're talking about, no. I know that question did come up, planning and zoning. I did investigate it after planning and zoning.
Mm-hmm.
The sign on the back is going to be internally lit, channelized sign. So in terms of getting the photometric of the light off the property, no. In our code, we do have a requirement that it can't exceed, or it has to be less than 1 foot candle at the property line. And based on what they're proposing, no, it will not extend across their property boundary.
Okay. Thank you.
It seems like we had this similar discussion when Dick's wanted to get a sign bigger than proposed, and Costco wanted to get a sign bigger than proposed. Is it possible maybe we should make a change in that 200 square feet, since everybody's going, asking for variances above it, and you're accepting the changes, correct?
We would not be opposed to the variance being granted, and a lot of it's driven by the distance from the roadway back. They're tucked in well behind smaller buildings up front, so it does help with their visibility in terms of entering and exiting the site and getting, to your destination.
Mr. Peterson, this this is another example why I think for the last 2 or 3 years I've been saying we need to update our sign ordinance.
Yes.
Another perfect example, you're right, we're constantly getting these coming back at us. Our ordinance is somewhat outdated. I can understand what it used to be. Of course, now we're building bigger.
Right.
We having buildings not being able to be seen because of the topography. So our sign ordinance need to be updated somewhat. And I know we continue to talk about this almost at every council meeting about updating our sign ordinance, and eventually we're gonna get there. I did have one question on this. I noticed you have a lot of signage on along Highway 27, but I see nothing for Hammock Ridge, along Hammock Ridge.
There will be signage behind the building. I believe Councilmember Myers was asking about that.
Yes.
Okay.
There will be an illuminated sign on the rear of the building.
Okay, so it will be able to be seen from Hammock Ridge?
That's correct,
Okay,
yes, sir.
okay, all right.
I have a question for the applicant. First of all, welcome to Clermont.
Thank you.
The citizens are very excited that you're here.
We are very excited to be here
Yes,
as
they
well.
are.
Do you have any signs at any of your other sprouts across the nation that have larger signs than the 270-foot sign that you're requesting us to approve tonight?
What we are proposing is Sprout's prototypical signage. What you see is the national average of what Sprouts likes to achieve.
Okay. And how do you feel about our Planning and Zoning Board's request that you keep your outdoor display under the canopy area? Is that something you can live with?
That was completely amenable. We were completely okay with that. That's exactly what Sprouts likes to achieve anyway.
Okay, great.
Okay, good. Sounds good.
And one other thing with the outdoor displays, and you're going to still stay in compliance with ADA requirements for people getting by?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
I did want, John, the monument sign, when you put it up there, it's showing all these different slots. Is that for all the businesses that they anticipate coming out there? Is room on that monument, not just Sprouts?
Yes, my
Okay.
understanding is Sprouts will be the major tenant, and then the
Okay.
minor tenants go underneath.
Okay.
And to answer the question on the back of the building, this is the signage that would be on the back of the building
Okay.
that was submitted as part of the packet.
Okay.
All right. I'm okay.
I move to approve item number 9 as presented with the modifications by Planning and Zoning.
I second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for approval of item number 9, resolution number 2025-010R. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 All opposed, and the chair vote aye as well. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, sir. Good luck and
So we look forward
Yeah,
to
we
your business opening.
ready for the opening. Item number 10, lien reduction request.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and guests. Kurt Henschel, Planning and Development Services Director. This request is for a lien reduction on vacant parcel located at 1000 West Montrose Street, which is across from 10th Street. That's what you see before you. I think I have this. That's correct. This is Victory Point Retention Area. Just to the bottom is Montrose Street down here. This is the parcel in question here. It is approximately 0.43 acres and is owned by Libre Real Estate, LLC. The applicant and manager of the LLC, Carlos Perales, is requesting a reduction in order to sell the property for future development. The parcel is zoned planned unit development with a future land use of downtown mixed use. The case started in April of 2024 for property maintenance and was presented to the Code Board in July of 2024. The property was in violation for 282 days, and due to noncompliance, a lien was created in October of 2024. Fines accrued at $150 daily for a total of 170 days before coming into compliance. The total amount owed is $25,500. The applicant is requesting to reduce the amount to $2,550, which is 10% of the amount owed. Earlier this year, the applicant contacted code enforcement and said he was out of the country for the time it was in non-compliant. Soon after, the property was mowed and has been maintained ever since. Just to give you a reference of what the property looks like, this is in compliance at this point here. The property is still in compliance and the owner is requesting the reduction to sell the land for development. Again, the applicant is proposing a lien payout of $2,550, which is 10% of the $25,500 owed. That's staff's report.
Thank you, sir. Is the applicant present? Please.
Good afternoon, Mayor. I'm Giovanna Nunes, 2275 Arglewood Way, Apopka, Florida, 32712. I am here representative the Libre Homes. I am the new real estate agent. That was the problem due the performance to the former real estate, that the address, all the notification was on that person, and that person never communicate accordingly to the person. When we receive it, we correct and address everything. That's why I am here to the first link, to the first council.
Okay.
And we pay already, and that's why we need to come back to respectfully ask to reduce 10% to the link.
Well, thank you, ma'am. If we have any other question, we will we'll call you back up a little bit later, okay? But this is a public comment, public hearing. Anyone in the public wish to address this item may come to the microphone and state your name and address and have 3 minutes. This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wish to address this item may come to the microphone and state your name and address and have 3 minutes. Seeing no one, I close public comment and bring it back to council. What say council?
Kurt, you all are okay with the reduction of the fine?
We are, yes. We do not have a lot of manpower in this. We took it to code board,
Okay.
so we feel that that amount would more than cover what was put into it,
Okay.
administration-wise.
What was the general feeling of the code board?
This is a while back. Honestly, I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. I don't recall at the moment. I just remember the outcome was $150 a day.
Yeah, when they impose the fines.
Right, when they
Okay.
impose a fine. Right, that's right.
I don't know if you ever dealt with one of the lien reduction before in the past, but we've done with these all the time. Back in the days, I know you served on the code, and back in the days when I served on the code enforcement board, we used to, fines used to accumulate to 100,000 when you would walk in and just wipe them all out, okay? And I think during my time on the code board, we kind of proposed, we put in motion in place the fact that we have some work involved in this, that we collect something. I've always tried to make it a flat 25%. Of course, our city attorney always said I couldn't do that. So each time one of these come before us, we usually end up making the decision what it's going to be. But it's usually around 10%, between 10 and 15%. So I have no problem with the 10% in this case.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did the same thing too
I
when I was
understand
chair.
when I talked with Kurt, once the people were notified and they realized it was a violation, they didn't hesitate to fix the problem and everything, and they've been maintaining it good. So 10% is okay. I'm okay with it.
I think we're all getting an Amber Alert of
Yes,
some
there's
sort.
a child has
Sorry.
been kidnapped.
But-
Yes.
But that is one of the things, we see this quite often. I say, when I was on the board, a lot of the owners of property will let it just accumulate, and of course, they knew they can come to the council and just get it all reduced and thrown out. And we're not trying to make money on these things. It's just
Right.
trying
It's
to
the
put
principle.
pressure on them
Yeah.
to get the
Become in compliance.
violation and bring it in compliance and everything. But I just felt like when I was on the board that it was serving no good if we were just going to throw it all out. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate both of your
Yeah.
leadership on this because I have been struggling with that.
You're like, yeah, we
I-
usually did 10% when I was the chair, yeah.
I like
Yeah.
rules. I like following them. I am curious if there's an intent by the property owner to actually do anything on the property. Can you tell us what the future might look like here?
Yes, of course. This is a project for a 15 townhouses. It will be create a job for a lot of people. and we have a new community in this side because we love Clermont.
Well, we love Clermont too.
Yes.
Right,
I'll let
I
you
think
take the lead.
We'll make
I
a
think what we're
motion.
saying is a lot of times these fines, I was on the code enforcement board too. And what they want to do is they want to grab people's attention.
Right.
So they're going to have these fines, and then in anticipating reducing when the person comes. But we had to do a certain amount of work there on the property, Kurt?
Yes,
That-
we hire.
That's
No,
going to
no,
compensate
no.
for that work
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
that's
done.
his.
Okay,
That's his.
right.
Yeah, we didn't go out and do any physical work to the property. They finally came into compliance themselves, but
Okay.
it was administrative office
Gotcha,
calls,
okay.
code board. That was the work that was put into it.
So
It wasn't a
that
lot.
2,500 would cover that and
Yes,
more?
it
Yes.
was. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I say, are we ready to make a motion?
Yes.
It's up to you.
Okay.
I think with that being said, I'd like to make
I
a
make
motion.
it. I move for us to accept item number 10, the lien reduction to be reduced to $2,550. Oh, when do we need to have it paid? That's the other
Yeah,
thing.
the timeline, is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Yes.
Usually we give them 30 or 60
30
days.
That's
but
the new.
yes, it's 30 days. Is that 30? Can you comply with 30 days?
It's okay.
It's okay?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay. So I would like to make the motion that it will be paid within 30 days. If not, then the lien goes back, correct? Yes.
Correct.
For the lien reduction on 1000 West Montrose Street.
I second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to accept the offer for 10% of the present lien on the property at 1000 West Montrose Street. If it's not paid within 30 days, it revert back to the full 25,000. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 All opposed? And chair vote aye as well. Motion passes 4-0. Good luck, ma'am, and I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward
Have
to
a good afternoon.
I'm looking forward to something coming out of the ground over there. Item number 11, ordinance number 2025-015, introduction to vacate right-of-way.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Clermont, Lake County, Florida, closing and permanently abandoning a 30 feet by 30 feet portion of Highland Ranch Boulevard according to the plat of Highland Ranch, The Canyons, Phase 6, recorded in Plat Book 74, pages 49 to 57, Public Records of Lake County, Florida, and more particularly described as below, providing for conflict, severability, administrative correction of scrivener's error, recording, publication, and an effective date.
All righty. That's all we get from the staff, eh? Well, all righty. This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wish to address this item may come to the microphone and state your name and address and have 3 minutes to address this item. This is a public, yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Matt Smith. I work for Center Lake Properties. The landowner, in fact, it's a family-owned company, not my family, but, owned the property for decades. And just, I'm here to answer any questions you might have, or I guess that's basically it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public which would address this item may come to the microphone and state your name and address and have 3 minutes. Anyone in the public wish to address the item, please come to the microphone, state your name and address and have 3 minutes. Seeing no one, in closing, make a, consider a motion from the council. This is an introduction.
Move to
Right.
approve item number 11, introduction to vacate right away.
I second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for item number 11 to approve item number 11, ordinance number 2025-015, intro to vacate right away. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair vote aye as well. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. Reports. We begin with the interim city manager, Mr. Van Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, we had originally a workshop for May 20th, and I'm asking that we would cancel that workshop, and we were supposed to have a budget presentation that was going to take place that date. Well, Scott is going to be ready to do that sooner than we thought, so we'd like to do that on May 13th at our 3
Okay.
p.m. scheduled meeting, if that would be okay with the council.
You say budget presentation in preparation of the,
That he's going to show the
for the
new
budget?
software and the things
Okay.
that the community will be able to see.
Okay.
So it'll be about a
Good.
15-minute conversation.
Before you, is that it?
For that item.
Okay.
And then also, I'd like to request that we change our city council meeting that's on July 22nd to preferably the 29th, if we could. And that's going to be a tentative millage rate that we have to report by August 4th. So that will give us some more time to work through that. So that would be the 5th Tuesday of that month rather than the 4th one. If that would be agreeable to the council, I'd like to do that as well. In July.
July 29th. I,
So changing it to the 20th.
huh? From the 22nd to the 29th. And I actually, Lloyd said, I submitted that request because it's one of them council meetings that I think I need to be here for, but at the same time, on the 20th through the 23rd, as a board member for Lake Apopka Natural Gas, they have the annual conference, and this year's being in Idaho, so they're holding the conference from the 20th to the 23rd of this year, so I won't, well, put it, I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to the conference, I will be here. One way, if we don't move it, I'll still be here. Okay. So that's the main reason I asked for it to be moved, because at that council meeting, we have to vote on the fact that what we're gonna set our millage rate at. Well, put it this way, we'll give a rate, and at that point, we cannot go any higher, but we can reduce it. So I think it's very important if everybody can be here at that time, so.
I agree that that's important, Mr. Mayor. I wonder if we could, just for interest of being consistent with the public, because we already had the change in dates, I want to be mindful of how often we're doing that. How would you feel about us keeping our regular meeting and calling that as a special meeting on July 29th? So you can be here for the setting of the millage. Just putting that, I'm happy either way. I can do it either way.
I'd rather just have it on the 29th.
Well, and then also that, which actually we also looked at trying to do it the 15th, but I am in agreement with the 29th because it gives you a little bit more time to mill over those.
No, I agree. I think being closer to the August 4th date is good.
But we have to get it done and submit it to all the advertisement before the 4th of August, so.
Oh, yeah.
Christian, are there any concerns with us doing that from your perspective?
No.
They do it like that every year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. See? Second time I get to be a rookie tonight.
So
I have a
So you're
consensus.
comfortable with the 29th
Okay, thank you.
also?
Yes, you
I
have a
appreciate that.
consensus.
I think that's important to have everybody here for that meeting, so thank you.
Yes.
Also, for events, just want to let you know, first Friday Food Trucks is on May 2nd here in downtown. And then lastly, I've been in this role for about 4 to 5 months, and I got to a point where physically it's a little too difficult to do this on my own. I've come to realize that. And so after talking to the 5 of you, I asked if you guys would be okay, even in my interim role, if that would be okay to hire a deputy city manager. And so I got a consensus from you, and I did an interview process with the staff. We narrowed it down from people all over the U.S., had some incredible candidates, but after going through that entire process, we felt like the best candidate was Dan Mathis. So even though I'm in an interim role, I decided to do that. And it's funny, I find myself in that role again when it comes to the police chief. So like it or not, I'm making decisions that are on my plate. So I did that for health and for the benefit of the city. So we have an incredible candidate. Dan, I find him very refreshing, very knowledgeable, and I've enjoyed working with him this week. And I'd like to let him come say hello, if you wouldn't mind coming up and let me put you on the spot, Dan. So this is Dan Mathis, everybody, our new deputy city manager.
Good evening,
Welcome.
Mayor and Council. I appreciate the opportunity. It's been, I've been here 18 hours now, and it's been quite the ride already. I've learned a lot, met some incredible people. You guys are very fortunate. You have an amazing staff here. Everybody I've met is very professional, very skilled at what they do, and very friendly. So I'm happy to be a part of the team, and if there's anything I can do to help, please feel free to call me anytime. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
you.
The only other thing I'll add, lastly, thank you, Dan. The reports, Mr. Mayor, as you know, we're just trying to continue to streamline the meetings, and of course, I would always ask your blessing before doing that on the agenda and changing that. I just want to make sure everybody knows that I wouldn't do that on my own. That's something I respectfully ask the entire council about their input. And if the council is asking me to change that again, you don't want to do that experiment, I'm certainly okay with that. We're just trying to streamline the meetings and get the business portion done. But if you want to do it differently, I don't have a dog in the hunt here, whatever you want to do. I'm just trying to streamline the meeting. So I respect whatever you guys want to do, Mr. Mayor, you and the council. So you let me know and I'll make the change. And there was a question asked about the city manager RFP. Mr. Bain, that is tentatively scheduled for May 13th. That's what I have it on my schedule with the staff. So I appreciate that. Thanks for letting me share all that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right, well, I have no problem trying to streamline the agenda, so we can try to get out of here at a decent hour and everything. However, at the same time, if I have to be here extra hours, I have no problem with that due to work of the people. But as I said earlier, I've always tried to use the report as a time to answer questions that come up during public comment, because I do not like to engage in people with public comment, because things can get a little overheated, and then you end up extending the time, because we got a question and answer session going on. So I like for them to give me all the questions and everything, and then we can come back at the time of reports and answer them one at a time if we can. But by moving it, as I said before, by moving it to the rear, a lot of the people are gone by that time. And we here for the people out there and everything, and I think they'll be waiting for an answer, and they don't want to have to sit here just like we don't want to be here all night. They don't want to be here all night to get answer to some of their questions. So that's one of the reasons I still advocate for the reports to be in the beginning, okay, so we can do that. Unless you all want to start taking on the questions during public comment, and then I guarantee you, you'll be here all night.
Mr. Waugh, is there any legal issue with us addressing the public's concerns at the close of public comments and then doing reports at the end on the things that we've been working on as council?
No.
I mean, I think it's great. I appreciate your concerns. I share them. I think you have valid insight, and if the council's comfortable with it, I have no problem taking the necessary time to address the public comments after public comment. And like for me, my reports tonight are really about items completely unrelated to public comments. It's just the things I've been working on this week, and somewhat of a workshop. And I agree with you. I think if someone wants to stay until the end, they'll stay to the end and they'll get the bulk of the meeting. But you know, a lot of folks leave when they're done with the business of the city, and I would like to respect that, so that when they want to leave and that's all they care about is the item on the agenda, they can go, and I like it at the end because it gives us a chance to interact with each other a little more. I don't feel that time pressure, and it gives us a chance to address any concerns that might come up during the meeting that the public might want to hear. So personally, I do like the reports at the end, but I do agree, I really enjoy the opportunity to address the questions when they're asked at the close of public comment.
Ditto.
But I think what's going to happen is, Mr. Mayor, you're the one that usually addresses the public comments all the time. I don't think it's any of us that really, because I don't think we want to have public discussion, we want to have public comment.
Right.
So this way you can, digest the question, and it might take time to digest the question to be succinct in what you want to say, as opposed to just fleshing something out as to, why we haven't done the questionnaire yet. I mean, it's an important question, but I think sometimes it's good to keep it to the end. But I mean, as our city manager said, I don't really have a dog in this hunt either. So I mean, whatever you want it to be is good.
Well, when I look at things like this, I try to put myself in their position, and I know many a nights I've come and sat at that dais and addressed the council and asked questions. And of course, my question was answered somewhat in the beginning of the meeting when I didn't want to have to stay here all night. I was able to get my question answered either during reports or early in the meeting, and I can get up and leave. I didn't have to sit here all night long and go through everything else to get my question answered. The reason these people come here and make public comments is because they want to answer these questions. And like I say, a lot of times I came just to do public comment, and once it was done, I'm gone. Okay, I didn't want to see the rest of it.
What if we do like how we just did, where you answered, at the beginning, and then how we do our actual reports at the end, but we address the questions at the beginning like you just did, like we just did? What
Well,
about
we
that?
Can, we can do that too. You
Okay.
just extending the time period. Basically, if we just go ahead and do a report, go down, and any question that concern the city manager, when he do his report, he answer it. And to be honest with you, when I look down my list right now on reports for the night, I had the MSTU on there. Of course, I've talked to you about a question about where we're at and to put it out there. City manager update. A lot of these things was already on my report to give these things tonight. So it's just seeing that they're hearing they did it, wanted to help eliminate some of my report anyway. So because we've already answered them. If we hadn't did it then, of course, when you get to this report now, I'll be answering all them questions now. Okay, but it's up to you all. If y'all want to continue to leave it at the rear, I mean, that's y'all consensus. That's fine with me. I just feel like I'm always trying to represent the people the best I can and give them the answers as soon as and quick as I can, without them having to sit here all night, because I used to appreciate it when I came in here and asked a question and I wanted to know what can I do or this and that. It was answered in the meeting, and I can get up and leave. Didn't have to sit here for 2-3 hours to get an answer to my question.
And I share those concerns. I had a public official who was very experienced early on when I had been elected share with me that at their city they did reports at the end because they use them more as a workshop, because there isn't a direct agenda and you can talk about things and you can bounce ideas around. And I just fear, because there is the public comment, but then there's the people who have planned and perhaps have professionals that are here, or they've got children at home and they're item number 3 on the agenda and they're thinking, well, I'm going to be heard at the beginning. And if we get into a workshop setting at the beginning, it might be an hour, hour and a half later. Whereas if we do it at the end,
That's a good point.
and we want that time, we can take that time, because I share with people all the time, it is very different being up here when I can't talk to each of you
Right.
and I don't get a chance to connect with each of you. I've enjoyed the reports at the end because I feel a little less pressure to rush through it,
Yes.
because we can engage with each other. That's why I like the reports at the end. It's not a hill I'm going to die on, but I do want to give that perspective, because I have enjoyed, and I think since we started doing that, I've noticed the tempo of the meeting feels more productive to me, and it's
I
more
agree.
pleasurable for me.
I agree.
So.
I agree.
But I do want to address the public's comments, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah,
I agree with
okay.
you
At the
completely.
beginning, yeah. So,
Well,
Can we hear from Mr. Watt now?
yes, Mr. Watt.
All right, number one is about moving the meeting. I don't think a consensus is enough. You set your meetings by resolution essentially, so I think you have to take a vote just to shift that meeting. You can do it tonight if you want, you could do it later, but that needs to be determined by a vote.
okay.
Can we put it on consent next meeting? Is that, but that way we've got a public notice for everybody,
you can
for
do that
anyone
too.
who might.
All
And
right.
then Todd can be here too.
Then,
Okay.
yeah, and then Todd will be, exactly. On the consent for the next meeting.
Number two is we have received multiple claims against us in the past 2 weeks since I last. We have another sidewalk fall.
What'd you do?
Well, you know, those cracks in the sidewalk come out of nowhere, Councilwoman.
I just had a
and
great
so,
conversation with Stoney about that today.
Also, there's been another foreclosure action,
no.
which we just have a utility bill that's on the record, but we have to preserve it, so we'll preserve that. We will, I believe Scott will be prepared to have an amendment on your May 13th agenda for moving the money from the general fund, the reserves, to the compensate for the fire impact fees that were spent. That will be on your May 13th agenda. And finally, tomorrow we will be closing on the Chestnut Street purchase. Your vote today on the consent agenda to approve the variance was the last step in that process, and we'll be closing tomorrow. So that concludes my report.
Thank you for your hard work on that. I know that's a big deal for Public Works.
Okay,
Public Services.
Councilmember Myers.
My report is this: I just hope everyone had a wonderful Easter Resurrection Sunday if you celebrate, and that concludes it.
Councilmember Peterson.
Well, since I have the EMO 2 coming up this week, so I'll become even more knowledgeable. And we have our first meeting at Kings Ridge with the city manager for like an open forum discussion there. So that should be good and productive. Obviously, there'll be a lot of traffic management questions as to why we don't have an acceleration lane when you exit. So maybe we can find out who we need to contact to get these questions asked
State.
when they come up.
State. I'll say this for you, so you have a little ammunition. Every year, we kind of submit to the state to have a traffic study done for turn signal at that intersection. And each year, and even long before I was the mayor, it was always come back no. But basically, we do that just about every year, okay? They keep saying, basically, they'll put one in at Legends before they put one in King Ridge, but we're going to continue to submit that every year to help them out there. The state made a decision some years ago that they're going to get rid of all deceleration lanes on Highway 27, Highway 50 when they upgraded them. Don't ask me why they made that decision. Because it's very aggravating, especially on Highway 50, all that traffic out there. If you're coming up and you want to make a right turn into Summit Greens or whatever, you have to do it from the main lane, okay, and create a lot of headaches. But the state, that was the decision they made when they upgraded the road some years ago, so they took out a lot of the turn lanes, okay? So, just to let you know some of that background, okay? Councilmember Strange.
Yes, I wanted to bring to everyone's attention that our local Clermont Football Club, which is soccer, actually now has 4 pro soccer teams. They're UPSL, so their top team is their men's team. That's really exciting to have actually a pro soccer team here in town, so I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. I'll be learning more about it, and as that team has advanced, they've brought 3 new teams on, 2 boys and 1 women's team, so that's new and exciting. I just got back from Tulsa, Oklahoma for the Sports ETA Summit, which is sports professionals from around the nation that come together. I had an opportunity there to spend a little bit of time with Brian Ritchie, our tourism director. I want to bring to your attention and anyone else who might be watching on the video that targeted events for tourism in Lake County are really summer events, specifically the period of May through October. Anything that might bring visitors from outside of 70 miles to Lake County are targeted events that the county is looking for, which means that if we can bring something to Clermont, that would be really good, and Ryan would appreciate that. There is a current legislative action. Mr. Mayor, I know you have been monitoring those. One popped up. There's a common theme. It happens pretty much annually, so much so I don't pay a lot of attention to it anymore, but it has popped up this year, a legislative action to make drastic changes to the tourist development tax. We'll see if it goes anywhere. It typically does not. However, I want to take a moment to educate each of you on what that is. So the tourist development tax, when you go to your hotel and you've got your sales tax and then there's another percentage. In Lake County, that's 4%. You go to Disney, it's 120. I tease, but it does seem like that sometimes. The tourist development tax goes to a separate fund for the county, and statutorily, it's to be used for facilities that attract tourists and any marketing programs that attract tourists. And at the roots, when you read the original statute, it's evident it was there for professional baseball and football facilities. That's where this originated. And it has modified and changed over the years to expand to Olympic level events and marketing and things of that sort. But there is currently pending a proposed change that basically says this goes to the taxpayer. It's an extreme change, and I just want to make sure you all know that the spirit of this tax is it's a consumptive use tax paid for by people outside, typically of the state, certainly outside of your jurisdiction. And so in that respect, to be able to use those funds for facilities and marketing that's going to attract more economic impact to the community. At the last meeting I shared there, if you can get outside dollars, that's economic impact. If you can keep them here, that's economic development and that's community wealth. So we really want to be able to do that, and then also to state that tourism is the #1 industry in Florida. So I'm a big fan of the TDT. I think it's really good as a taxpayer to not have to pay for those facilities and to pay for that marketing. My friends in Michigan pay for it for me. Wisconsin, my friends from Wisconsin pay for it for me. I think we've got some in the audience from there. So I just wanted to give you that update. And then also last night, don't know how this one will go over, but I wanted to bring it up. Reports, workshopping, right? Groveland actually adopted or accepted the state's offer to accept the Groveland government efficiency programs, the auditing programs by the state. We had at one point a communication by a council member, I know Mr. Howard's not here, to do an audit of the city. I want to share with you and for the folks in the audience, we do have in our packets this week, for the second meeting in a row, an updated financial, month by month, reconciled financials. This puts us through the end of February, which is exactly where we should be in April. I am extremely pleased with what I have seen from Mr. Borer and his team. I'm very excited about his proposal or his presentation next month. But I already commented that I think accountability is the highest honor, and I'd like us to consider accepting the state's offer to have an audit done so that the good work that's being done can be validated and verified. And if there's anything that their auditors might see, maybe in working with other cities that could help us as we head into budget cycle, I think it's a tool in our toolbox. And I think we're going in the right direction, but I wanted to put that out there. Obviously not for vote tonight, but I did want to mention it. And with our fellows in Groveland doing it, maybe we could piggyback on that. So that's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you. And for now, my report. Thank you for that update. I was going to let you know that did pop up on the radar yesterday and as I in the call-in, as I say, every Monday during session at 9 o'clock, you can get on the telephone and you can listen to the update on all the things, bills that's going forth. They trying to put forth in Tallahassee. Ask any questions at that time if you have any concerns, and that's the one that popped up yesterday.
Well, I appreciate you looking out. Thank you.
And everything, so it popped up. First time it came up in the discussions, we 8 weeks in a 9-week session. I think we got one more week, but on Monday mornings at 9 o'clock, you're welcome to join in and listen to the conversation. Different elected officials from around the state ask questions about the different bills and everything. So with that being said, you all should have received the email. I'm assuming you all received the email from Mr. Van Wagner, Mr. Waugh, with a draft of the letter to the state in opposition of a couple of the bills that we discussed at the last council meeting.
I don't think so, Mayor. I think I only sent it to preliminarily to yourself and the city manager.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't go back and look, and I was hoping he sent it to you all too. But I did have a couple questions because in the letter, one of the things that you stated right at the beginning of the letter, with 63,000 residents strong. I think that's a little high.
No, I was just putting a number in there. Yeah.
So okay. And another question, when you send it to me, we're asking who do you want to send it to. I think normally you get with Debbie, Miss Debbie up there, and she has a lot of experience at doing this and know all the representatives, how to contact them and who all to send them to.
Well, I know who all of them are, Mayor. The question was, do you all as a city council want it just to go to the senator or representatives who are cover Clermont, or do you want it to go to specific subcommittees dealing with the bills? That's the question.
I think in the past, we've always sent them to all the representatives that cover our area, plus the ones that has proposed the bill that's working with the bills. I mean, I think in the past, when we sent them, each one of them have always gone to like 10 or 12 different representatives up there. So, okay, but the thing is, I was hoping you had sent it to everybody so they can make a decision, see if everything okay, because like I said, we're in the final weeks of the legislature, so that letter need to get out as soon as possible if we're going to do it.
Well, unfortunately, Mayor, no sooner did I send the draft, and it's why I didn't send it to everybody, is a major change was made to the CRA bill.
Oh, boy.
And that's what I was worried about. So basically, Senator McLean, who is the sponsor of the bill, is no longer proposing that CRAs be sunsetted or terminated. Right. He's no longer proposing that the massive restrictions he was. And the Florida legislature does this every single year when it comes to CRAs. So the bill has been substantially amended. I don't know if y'all would actually oppose the changes, to be honest.
I won't oppose them, but he submitted the amendment, so the amendment hasn't been accepted yet. See, of course, that came up in the conversation on Monday as well, the CRA, where he amended it. But basically, if you hadn't been following the bill right now, which with all the amendments and everything they have up there, come 2045, CRAs would disappear completely. Okay, October this year, you can't you won't be able to do anything with a CRA. You can't even create a new CRA. And I think it's actually July 1st this year, you can't
As
even
it
start
stands.
any new projects under the CRA.
As it stands.
Yeah, as it stands right now.
Right.
So that's why we had the opposition between it, because it was going,
And we can still,
Yeah.
obviously, Mayor, you know, we could still express that
Mm-hmm.
in the letter. I just don't want to use necessarily, I don't want to misrepresent y'all's position. So as long as it's expressing, you know, opposition to the bill as prior formulated.
Yeah.
Or the intent of it.
Yeah.
You know, then I think we're good to go. And I'd be happy to send the whole thing to everybody.
Yeah, I think, and we talked about CRA, in the opposition letter, we only talked about live local and the CRA, two of the things that's really concern us. And of course, we talked about property tax as well, which is one of these things we just gonna have to wait and see where it goes from there. Property tax, CRA, all these things have drastically hurt us and create a lot of problem with us trying to do business for the city if they go through. Okay, so that's why I asked for you all to take a look at them, and if you want to do opposition, we get it in as soon as possible before they actually get down to voting on all these things. I will say this, throughout the state, the live local, the CRAs, of course, the tourist development, that just popped up on the radar this week and everything. So, and the state taxes, here's the problem with this property tax. The question is, if we did do away with the property tax, how is the city going to operate? When you have a city like, I think, we collect about 23 million on property tax, how will we make that up? Okay,
What's the status on that bill?
see.
I mean,
So-
there's several different variations kind of winding their way through. So I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Yeah, and we don't know where it's at, but we trying to get, that's the thing, everybody trying to keep eye. And like I say, I attended a session in one of the conference I went to a year or so ago. And the thing was, hey, can we make it up through sales tax? And of course, at that conference, and that works out, they was talking about maybe if they had to make it up through sales tax, they talking about 20 to 30% sales tax, which could be deadly to the state as well. How many, that can hurt our tourism, I think. Of course, I think the governor has already said any bill come to him to try to make it up with sales tax, he's gonna veto it. Okay,
Yeah.
so how will we make it up? Other concerns I have with that, if we do sales tax, how is the money gonna be allocated? Who has the responsibility of allocating our portion of it back to us, okay? Cities like, I think Clermont would be good if they increase sales tax, or so the amount of commercial property, commercial entities we have here will be okay, but cities like Mineola and Mount Verde that has no commercial, they'd be hurting, okay? But then again, if we collecting our fair share here, how do we get it back? Who's gonna be the oversight of all that?
Right.
See? So.
That's a valid
But,
concern.
and the feeling right now, some people don't feel like it's going anywhere, but this has been coming up for the last few years, just like with the tourist development,
Right.
and it's just getting closer and closer, so it's things we need to look at, and everything, so, what, Mr. Waugh, I mean, for us to let her go, back to the letter, I think all the council need to take a look at it, and if it's a go, let us know so we can get it done, and
Then I'll get consensus
Yeah.
and speak to everybody.
yeah, and get it done so we can get it signed and get it, Debbie have time to get it signed and sent out, okay, because it's a little tedious process and everything that goes along with that, so. And I think next week is the last section of legislation. The 9th week will be the last week, so we need to get it to them before the end of legislation.
I mean, it's done, Mayor. It just has to be sent and
Okay.
signed.
It was something else in there, I can't remember what it was, and I can't go back and even find it, I was trying to, it was towards the end, in the last paragraph, just before your conclusion, there was a statement in there, I had a question on it, I've been trying, I sit here and tried to go back and look it up, but I haven't been able to find it, but I'll get with you on it, okay, all right, let me verify, Lake Apopka Gas, as I said, I go to Lake Apopka Gas, sit on the board and everything, I want everybody to understand, it's at Lake Apopka expense, okay? City of Clermont do not pay for me to attend this conference. Lake Apopka is responsible for doing all that. And that's one of the reasons I'm trying to get a confirmation whether we can move the council meeting so I can let them know to go ahead and make reservations for me and do all the travel arrangement. They keep calling me now, and I told them I'll let them know something this week.
I say you should go.
Huh?
You should go.
You know,
We
but
still
I-
need to take formal action, but I don't think you're going to have a problem.
Okay, well, I'll convert, but I just also wanted to put that out there and let you know that it's not an expense to the city, it's an expense of Lake Apopka Gas, okay? And I think I've informed you all in the past that we are part owner of
Yes,
Liquor
we
Park
are.
and
I
Gas.
remember you
Okay.
saying that. That's exciting.
right.
So, yes, go represent
That's
us.
why I have to sit on
Yes.
the board.
I think you being there is important.
And I've said in the past that I'm the president of Lake County Florida League of City, local chapter of the Florida League of City. We meet the second second Friday of each month at 12 o'clock. And since I've taken over, instead of going to Mount Dora every month, we meet in different cities now. I give a chance to the cities to operate. I'm again throwing the opportunity out there for you all to attend these meetings and see. Basically, Florida League of Cities, our local chapter, supposed to be an advocate for cities and everything here in the county, at the state level and at the county level. So that's what it's all about. And I admit, we're trying to revamp the whole program and be more effective in the area. But again, second Tuesday, you should see an email inviting you to it.
Yes.
If you want to go, let Debbie know, and she'll go cut your check. This meeting on
What time is it?
what is it, the 9th?
Yeah, what time is
The
it?
9th of May at 12 o'clock, I think it is. It'll be, is the 8th of May. No,
No, it's the
second
9th.
Friday of May.
Yeah,
It'll
it's
be
the
in
9th.
Mineola. We're actually in Mineola
Mother's Day
this time.
weekend, that's why I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, it's Mother's Day weekend, the 9th of May. So if you want to attend, and also, under the charter and bylaws up there, each city is in the county required to designate one representative, which I guess that'd be me, but we have to put it in writing as a designee and have a voting on the committee, on the directors vote, and we need an alternate. So I need one alternate in writing that if I'm not there, they have to vote in right if I'm not there. So that's up to you all. I'm already representing, so I do need somebody. I know Mr. Peterson have attended them before.
He said he would.
Yeah,
He said
so,
he would.
so I have no problem with that. He designate him as an alternate on that, if that's what you also desire.
Yes,
But we
that's
need to
fine.
get there. This is one of the other things, like I say, it's a lot of things there that I'm trying to
We
get updated,
understand.
and this is one of them, okay?
Do we have time to put that on the agenda for next meeting?
Sure,
So that
we
it
can do
be
that in the next meeting. We can do that.
Consent. Consent for Bill as the backup.
And here's the thing. Every city in the county is supposed to be a member, is eligible to be a member of this organization, this group and everything. And the membership is based upon, what the cost to be a member of it is based upon population. Okay? And I feel somewhat cheated when I first got elected. I didn't even know we had this. I sat up here almost a year or so doing things, didn't even realize we had the local chapter and everything, till Mr. Botice came in and called me one day and said, hey, you going to the meeting? I said, what meeting? He said, it's every second round. I said, I knew nothing about it. He told me. So I've been attending ever since. But as the largest city in Lake County, we pay the most dues.
And we have the same vote?
Huh?
And we have the same vote?
And we have the same vote. Okay, and that's why I felt a little cheated when I got in there and started learning. I was like, hey, we had no representation. We pay all this money every year. We've been paying membership dues and nobody's there.
What's the rationale for the higher fee?
Well, like I say, it's based upon population. It's one set fee and based upon population. So whichever, if you be in the largest city in Lake County, we pay the higher fee. That's just it.
But do they provide different service for the city, or is there something that we get in exchange for the higher fee?
No, if we get the one vote, basically one vote, and of course, like I say, I stepped up and I got elected as president. I'm running it now because I'm making changes because I felt like basically we've been sending them money every year and get nothing for it.
Yeah.
So in our process, I've had a new strategic plan done, so we're in the process of trying to get all that done and everything. So it would be great to have some more representative from Clermont, because you can come, whether you're designated or not, you can still attend the meeting and have some input on where we go with it, okay?
What are the potential benefits to the city that we should be looking out for when we're
Well,
talking
one
to
of the
people?
potential benefits is, as I say, it's supposed to be an advocacy for city right, home rule. So all these, like the TDC dollars and everything, if we oppose all that, we should have a committee. We're supposed to have a committee there, which I'm trying to get together, committee there that we put together and keep up with all these things that's going on in Tallahassee, with the county. And if we are opposing, they help speak out against these things. So
And-
we'll be able to send a contingency to Tallahassee and say, hey, we oppose certain things, okay?
Right, and I think we utilize their lobbying
Right.
too, right?
Right.
I mean, that's what you're paying the money in.
Well, for the Florida League of Cities, basically, the local branch is nothing but a leg off the state Florida League of Cities.
And I'd even add that sometimes, whether it's the local chapter or Florida League of Cities itself, they have resources that can help. Sometimes they share things that other cities are doing that can inform our policies, procedures, that kind of thing. I've always found them very useful.
Florida League of Cities, I find them very useful. You know, they take care of some of our insurance problems and everything, and suits and things like that as well, so.
What time and where is the location on May 9th?
This one is gonna be Friday, the 9th of May, and it's in Mineola. I have to get the address exactly. Town Hall, yeah. You should have received the email. Okay, it's Jamaican food? Okay. So,
At 12 o'clock?
12 o'clock, right. But, you know, like I say, you as the city being a member, each one of you, and even city staff, Mr. Van Wagner, you all welcome to join as well. It's just that when it comes to vote, we have to have a designated representative, and I guess since I'm there, and I can do that, but we also need an ordinance when I'm not there to be able to take votes, okay? But we look for input. All cities represented there pretty much, and I'm usually the only one from Clermont a lot of times, and I appreciate Mr. Van Wagner when he showed up a couple of times, so.
I put it on my calendar.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Go along with that, I am on the board of directors for the Florida League of Mayors as well, and we have a regional meeting, workshop on Thursday and Friday. I think I sent you the invitation because they asked for the vice to come as well. So we'll be in Sanford on Thursday night, and then on Friday morning, we have a breakfast in Cocoa Beach and everything, so.
Wow.
So, they have these meetings, these little workshops every 2 or 3 months and everything in different areas throughout. I think the last time I was over in, where were we at last time? St. Augustine Beach a couple months ago. But the workshops are basically, we'll have a start off with a lunch around 12 o'clock and do a workshop, a round table workshop discussing different things, and usually end up with a dinner and then the breakfast the next morning. Usually you have the dinner in one city, the workshop in one city, and then the breakfast at another city. A year or two ago, I actually hosted breakfast here and everything. They did the dinner in Auburndale, and then I did the breakfast here.
As much as you can get those tourists to come in here, that would be great.
So we can try to keep doing this, and I'm quite sure they're looking for me to say, hey, will you host a dinner, or will you host the breakfast again soon, so.
Oh, yes, Brian and I have, bring them here.
Okay.
Clermont would love to have them.
And so, but that, just to let you know, that's where I'll be, and I think Ms. Myers is gonna be with me on Thursday as well, for that workshop. Other than that, Earth Day, I was able to attend Earth Day on Saturday. Pretty good turnout. I think I saw, they sent me a report saying there was over 300 pounds of trash picked up on Saturday morning.
Awesome.
I know I spoke to Mr. Bronson about next year, let's look at other areas besides right around the lake, if we can extend it out over to other parts of the city, organized so we can get other parts of the city trash picked up on other parts of the city. So hopefully we can do that, because I think our main area focus has been most like around Hiawatha Park and everything, and that place is pretty clean. I drive through there now compared to when we started a few years ago. All the trash we picked up, it's not much out there, and we had very good participation. I know over 200 people was out there helping pick up trash on Saturday. We served hamburgers and hot dogs. I actually served hamburgers this year and hot dogs, so people appreciated that. It was good. Other than that, that's it. Mayor's Luncheon, and monthly Mayor's Luncheon is at Amore's on the 5th of May, 6th of May, what is it? I don't know, Tuesday, first Tuesday of May. I'll be at Morey's at 12 o'clock. Anybody that want to join me, please come and join me at Morey's on the first Tuesday in May, okay? And other than that, that's it. We've already talked about the city manager, MSTU, and other things, so.
May I add one thing, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Peterson and I were talking about the Row Club, and he had expressed an interest in being our representative. So
Okay.
I wanted to see if that was possibly agreeable, and if so, I'll put it on the next agenda, in the consent agenda, if that's something you all would
You're going to
entertain.
be our liaison for the road club. That's fine. I think in the agreement, it said, in the new agreement we did, we said we will provide a liaison, so I have no problem with it. Okay.
Are you good with both appointments? Didn't we put you on something else tonight?
Yes. Florida League of Cities.
Well,
Florida
not
League
yet.
of Cities. Okay. Just making sure you're good. Okay.
Yeah, on the,
Consent?
huh?
Oh.
Yeah, I heard he had said, somebody told me he said he wanted to be on that, so that's fine, so. That's fine.
Well, thank you.
Okay. So I'll put that on the consent agenda next month, or next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me go back and let me see this here also on the regional, workshop for the mayors.
Yeah.
If you want to go, I'm quite sure I can invite some of you council members as well if y'all want to attend, okay? All right. It may be a little late for this one because, you know, they do have to RSV people when they come out. Next time I'll ask, not just send it out to the vice mayor, but send it out to the representatives as well.
We have, just because I know it off the top of my head, I'm not trying to feed the businesses I work with. Give me a minute, you guys. We have a pro softball tournament coming to Clermont in June and July. And I imagine that there are probably other really interesting events like that between track and field and the soccer. I wonder if, at least what I find in tourism when we have our conferences, they're always looking for something interesting to do and see. And so if you want, I'll have Mr. Van Wagner send you the dates of the softball and see what I can drum up from some of the other sports professionals that are doing activities. And maybe over the summer you could pull them over here at one of the regional meetings.
Yeah.
Or in the fall, or whenever the next one is. If there's a date, I'm happy to help to try to find something interesting to make them say, oh yeah, we'll come to Clermont again, do something cool.
Well, and it's normally what happened, like, I think on the agenda for this one, we will go there, we'll have a round table, we'll have lunch, we'll have a round table. I think I just looked at the schedule, and about, I think it's saying about 3, 4 o'clock, they have put us on a trolley and they actually take us out to some of their facilities.
Exactly.
I like some of the facilities before we go to dinner and everything.
Even if we just show off the Performing Arts Center,
Right,
or
right.
you know, we showed off the track where
Right.
the Olympians are, something kind of cool. Maybe they would be interested in that, and it might be something you could throw out there. But if you, I don't know if you're allowed to talk to me about that, but if you can get the
No, I
dates
mean,
to
if
me,
we
I can
have
help
it,
find
you know, if
something
they-
and
if
route
they-
it back.
I mean, if they call a request, usually when they call and ask me to do something, ask me if I'll host for them, I go to my city manager and I say, hey, can we do this?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your thought? And of course, Debbie and the city manager in the past have always laid down the itinerary of what we're gonna do, how we're gonna handle everything, what we're gonna feed them. But yeah, when I was up in St. Augustine Beach, we did the workshop, and at 4 o'clock, we broke off the workshop and they took us and actually toured the bourbon factory up there.
Exactly. That's the kind. Yeah.
And
When we go to
everything,
these conferences, that's what the kind of things that we
They
do too.
explain
So
economic development, how
Yeah.
much economic development it brings into the city and everything.
we
So
got a
usually,
lot of cool stuff here. So I don't mind putting together a list. I'll send it to Rick, and you know, put some dates on it and see what you can come up with. That'd be great.
So that means we want to host a dinner, because that's usually done on the evening of the dinner, the day of the dinner, because like I say, we usually come in about 12 and we do our breakfast, usually just meet for breakfast, talk a little bit, a couple hours, and we go.
And they do that quarterly.
Like I say, I just did one in January, was it? I just
So
did one
quarterly,
in
yeah,
January. I
okay.
got this, but it's usually they try to do them quarterly. I
So
did one
July.
in November or October.
That sounds right. Yeah, I'll send you the July dates and come up with a couple others. And
Actually, the one I enjoyed the most was when we did it in Daytona, because they put me on, they took us out to Daytona 500 and gave us a lap around the track.
That's cool.
It was cool, yeah. But anyway, if there's nothing else, meeting adjourned. Okay.